Ladies and gentlemen, what's up? This is BC. Welcome back to another episode of Supreme Being. Thank you for the support and thank you for being here today. Go to my new website, right? BrianCasellaCoaching.com to check stuff out. If you want to get on the email list, go.briancasellacoaching.com. All the links are below. Schedule your free strategy call. Those of you looking for additional guidance and help and you want a little bit more personal attention, that link is below. Our public Discord link is below. The Icon Ninjas opportunity at eXp Realty for everyone in real estate is below. It's all there. Okay. Thank you for being here. This is what I want to talk about today. I'm going to pull up a quick quote that I put on my Facebook that I want to read to you. And it was a status that I did that, and typically whenever it's like words, I think people share that stuff on Twitter. The statuses that I share on Facebook, even though my old account was deleted, always do well. People enjoy them, right? Normally get a ton of shares and a ton of engagement. I said, stop using a past or the past that you never experienced to define your present and your future. I'll say that again. Stop using a past that you never experienced to define your present and your future. Now, what do I mean by that? All right. What do I mean by that? Well, let's talk about it. Let's look at this thing, right? Let's look at my family and my ancestry, right? My family's real mixed. Right. But most recently, the last couple of generations of my family has been in Argentina, in South America. Right. And the origins of those people and their experience is immigrants, dirt poor, factory workers, uneducated, bottom of the barrel in social value, bottom of the barrel in material value, no understanding of money, no hopes, no big dreams. You can't be famous unless you are great at soccer or play a sport or you're an actor. Right. Very like bottom of the barrel. We weren't born to be rich. We're never going to be wealthy. It's okay to live and struggle like we do. That's just how we live. And that's just our family. And that's just what it's going to be. Right. Et cetera, et cetera. Now, I'm sure many of you, because you didn't come from money, just like me. Again, I'm a first generation born in America. All of my family's in South America, except for my parents. And one of my brothers is here, Leandro. Germán, my oldest brother. He's back in South America. All my cousins, aunts, everybody's back there. I have nobody in the States except for my parents. Okay. I'm first generation, only one actually, because my brothers were born in Argentina. I'm the only one born here. Okay. Understand that. My dad and my family came over here with nothing. I think it took my dad 2 years to get his visa to come here. My mother's parents, it took them 3 or 4 years to be able to come to the States. Nobody came with money. They came with the suitcase, a couple dollars, and they didn't even speak English. Okay. So my dad made that trip, not even knowing the language at 28 years old to come to the United States looking for something better. So he originally was the first one we can say that broke out of that mentality. All right. Now me growing up, right, I grew up in Huntington Park, California, which is right next to South LA, what people call South Central, right? Like Alameda is what cuts down LA. I was right on the other side of Alameda. Okay. That's where I grew up. Lived there for many, many years. Okay. Didn't have money. The same existence people talk about. Oh, we came from the gutter and poor and all that. Right. Now, were we technically in poverty? No, it could have been a little bit worse. But again, some of the toys that I wanted never got. Right. Didn't have any of the luxuries that we proclaim everybody who has money comes from. Right. So what I'm saying is, I'm sure there's a lot of people listening to this podcast and that have been following me for a long time who come from similar circumstances as me. That's probably the vast majority of them. And I think that's why so many people identify with me is I wasn't born rich. I'm not a trust fund baby. I earned this shit. Okay. So what I'm going to is if I played that quote and thought that way and followed that logic that I just explained to you right when I started this podcast a couple minutes ago, I wouldn't even dare step into the realm of what I'm doing. I wouldn't even let's start breaking down that mentality, how it cripples you. Well, I can't door knock. I can't door knock in these areas or do this because, well, I'm just this immigrant from South America. No one's going to take me serious. Well, right. All this stuff starts coming and they're going to look at me differently. They're going to treat me differently. Right. Oh, I can only door knock and call in Hispanic neighborhoods because the whites or the blacks or the Asians aren't going to like me. And, I'm just this humble little, Hispanic worker. And, I can't sell real estate. Look at that. That stuff is worth $500,000. And, I'm just this lowly little immigrant. Right? Now, I'm sure some of you, because you know me, you're probably laughing as you hear me saying that. And it's very difficult for me not to laugh saying that stuff because Again, you're brought up being taught that. And some of you may think that. It's okay. I'm not making fun of that fact, because this goes into the deepest places and the most, depths of our mind that we haven't even explored ever. Like those depths of the subconscious mind that you haven't even looked at, nor do you even know that it exists. So that literally bleeds into and formulates your identity, your values, and your beliefs. We joke about it, but a lot of our family and our ancestors think that way. Okay? Now, for you to create a change or do something new, you're going to have to think, act, and be a different way. All right? Now, some of that stuff that I just said, we could talk and play the victim all day, which is what society has been pushing on people. And now it's not about history and culture. It's about, well, whatever thing that I can pull from the past that, even though it may not affect me today and stop me from getting what I want, I can still use it as a valid excuse. Now, some people will do that, and they'll just pass that down generation to generation. I refused, and my parents, especially my father, did not allow me to say that. I remember him telling me when I was a kid, I don't give a shit that we're immigrants. I don't give a shit about our last name or this or that. You be what you want to fucking be. You do what you want. Because now that I brought us to America and we're in America, we can do whatever we want. Don't listen to the bullshit. Don't worry about all that other stuff, right? Just do what you want to do. You want to be, this, do that. If you want to do that, do that. You do what you want to do. You don't think like our family thinks, that we just have to work in factories and scrape pennies together and starve, because we don't have to do that. I remember being told that and having those values instilled in me by my father. Okay. Now, when you're a kid, you're like, whatever, Dad. But now as an adult, it sticks, which is the power of having real men around. My father, a real man, salute to him. We need more of that. As time goes on and we have less of that, less fathers present teaching their children and less fathers in general sticking around, what do you think is happening to society? And the boys growing up, they're going the wrong way. And this is why we're seeing society not advance in that category because of this. One of the many factors, right? But going back to the point, I had to, and my father and everyone else had to morph out of that mentality. Because if I went to do my job as a realtor, right? My most recent career. We're not going to talk about athletics. I would crumble under the pressure. I wouldn't even dare do some of these things like, hey, I'm going to go door knock in Beverly Hills, even though everyone's telling me not to. But they're speaking from the perspective of their limiting beliefs. I don't believe what they believe. I don't follow the narrative that they follow. I walk and create my own path. How about that? How about I'm going to test some of these dated beliefs and philosophies that you have in your mind, just to test their veracity to see if they're actually true. How about we turn this into a game at least, so I can have some fun with it? I refused to let what other people told me, especially what was not my experience, to dictate what's possible for me. I refuse. And this is why you see people in this country, especially in America, come from some of the craziest backgrounds, craziest places, right? We're talking poverty or maybe a family history of like mental illness or whatever it is. And boom, they break out and they become this amazing success story because they refuse to buy into the mentality, right? Simple examples. You come from a family of alcoholics. That does not mean you have to be an alcoholic. You may be genetically predisposed to be an alcoholic if the factors that you engage in your daily life contribute to the activation of that. Same thing with disease. It doesn't mean that you're going to be that or have that 100% unless you believe it. Because the first step to break that is to not believe it. All the issues that my family had, like health issues, some of them, not all of them, I don't have any of them. The only one is lactose intolerance, but hey, that's not even a thing. We're not supposed to drink another animal's and another creature's milk, but that's a separate discussion, right? It starts at the belief, but if you're, again, taught these beliefs, which we are by our family, our friends, and our environment, everyone around us, of course, it's going to mold us and shape us a particular way. And you're going to have to listen to people like me and do your own studies and your own exploration in order to break you out of it, which is why I feel bad sometimes for late high schoolers and like people that go to colleges. They just get indoctrinated with some person or their teacher's philosophy, regardless if it's going to serve them or not, right? If you want to be an entrepreneur truly and genuinely, I wouldn't recommend you go to college. It's going to teach you the opposite and turn you into a good employee. Now, we do need people that go to college to become doctors and lawyers and engineers and all those things. That's fine, but that's somebody moving with purpose. The vast majority of kids going to school are just going because that's what you're supposed to do. Says who? Says who? Right? I remember feeling that pressure because my family was trying to tell me, oh, you're going to be the first one to graduate college or even go to college and this and that. I do, but what if I don't want to do that? Why are you putting that pressure on me? Right? So that goes back to what I was saying in the beginning. You're falling into someone else's vision or what they want instead of what you want. Why are you putting all these limits on yourself? Especially because I know a lot of minorities listen to me, right? I mean, look at my coaching program and look at the statistics. Right? Hispanic people, Asian, right? Black. And it doesn't matter because this message is for everybody. But I'm making this part for the minorities because some of you still view yourself as a target when you go outside or when you do business. I can tell you firsthand experience myself. I've helped people from every background you can think of be successful at sales and real estate in my short experience teaching and helping people. And all of them have done a fantastic job and none of them were limited based on their culture or their race. You know who was? The ones who believed that that would happen. And they never put in the effort and they never really bought into the systems and the actions. Why? Because that belief clouds everything else in front of it. It creates your perception and it literally alters everything. So if you believe to your core that because of your accent or your skin color, that that's really going to hold you back, again, regardless if the outside does or does not hold you back, before that even comes into the picture, if you really believe that, based on what I said in the beginning, you will not get the result. It's the same thing if you substitute that with, I think I'm too stupid. Oh, I think I'm too ugly. Oh, I think I'm not educated enough. Fill it in with whatever you want, right? And many of us, by our families and our peers and our environments, we're one form of that or multiple forms of that, we're given it. You're not good enough, right? You're too Hispanic, right? Your accent's too thick, or you're too black, you're too this, you're too that. And we buy into that crap. And we believe it because we're kids. Of course, we're going to believe it, right? Of course. And then you look on social media now and it feeds it. You want to find racism? Look on social media. You'll find it. But I ask people, look at your everyday experience. Have you dealt with that much? Be honest. If I gave you a dirty look in public and I'm a different race than you, does that mean I'm racist? Do you know that for a fact? You got shitty service at a restaurant. Is it because of your accent? Or because of your race? Do you know that for a fact, right? We make all these assumptions, or it's confirmed by somebody else that starts shaping and molding your identity, your character, your beliefs, your philosophies, and everything else. And it's incorrect because then you go out with a warped perception of what the world is really like. And it affects your ability to be successful, be happy, and be fulfilled in this life. Man, I've traveled so much. And the shit that you see on social media is not real life. I've gone door to door in Los Angeles in the worst neighborhoods, the best neighborhoods, and everything in between. And my experience has been overall pleasant. Does that mean I was never threatened? No. I've had weapons pulled on me, guns pulled on me. I've had dogs chasing me. I've had the cops called on me multiple times. And sometimes they treated me good, sometimes they didn't. But when I look at the totality of the experience, that's a small fraction. I don't spend hours a day dealing with that. No, it would happen. And sometimes it would happen somewhat often. But overall, when I look at the percentage of all the time I spent going door to door, doing all that stuff, it's a small fraction, dude. Why would I allow that to define it? It's the same logic that you apply when you talk to 100 people and 2 or 3 are assholes and you say, oh, everyone's an asshole. No, they're not. It was 2 or 3 out of 100, right? Or just because somebody doesn't meet you with a super big smile, that doesn't mean they're being an asshole. Maybe they're just not in a good mood. See, we start labeling and defining all these things incorrectly without even really knowing. And that starts to mess you up because now it clouds your perception right? These filters that you start putting on the world start warping it in this weird way. This is why if you ever found yourself talking to somebody where you're giving them a fact about something and they can't understand it, and you're sitting there scratching your head like, what the hell's wrong with you, dude? I just presented the facts. How do you not see it? It's what I'm talking about. They're so warped down to the core and their belief system and their identity and their philosophies that they can't understand or see, nor do they want to understand or see what you're presenting. Right? They're so warped now. They have the inability to, because it cannot bypass their emotions and their reasoning mechanism in their mind. All that stuff has been warped and just destroyed, unfortunately. Now, can they recover it? Sure, but they're going to have to first become aware of something being wrong, because that's what we need is awareness. I was able to myself peel back that stuff and say, okay, yeah, there are some things that I need to change around, right? Because I fell into some of that bullshit too. But you are the master of your destiny, right? Especially in America, because a lot of you come to me, entrepreneurship, right? Mindset, sales, money, success. You're listening to this. You have the ability to do whatever it is that you want to do. Okay? And believe me, I've been there. I've gone to the bank and gotten denied for every fucking loan when I was broke, right? Didn't have the good credit. All the same stuff everybody complains about, we all deal with from different walks of life. We deal with the same thing. So I've had to overcome these hurdles that you have as well. I've been treated like shit by people. I've had people that I've worked with that have said what I would consider somewhat probably borderline like racist stuff. But again, when I look at the totality of people that I've worked with and interactions that I've had, it's such a small percentage. Why would I allow that to cloud and ruin everything? You see? Perspective. Using logic and reason, which is what I'm encouraging people to do. So why would I allow, let's say, if we're going to follow this logic, why would I allow just the previous generations of my family in South America who were literally dirt poor to determine my outcome in life? Well, fuck it. Well, I can't even try real estate, guys, or anything, or social media, because no, it's not possible. That's in essence what I would be doing. And all of you would say, well, what are you doing? No, it's stupid, right? You would make the argument to me, yet we still do this in our lives. Guys, and this is so ingrained in people. I really do. I love my family. I'm not mad at them for thinking that way, because I get where it comes from. But some of them, to this day, believe it or not, refuse to believe that I've had the success that I've had legitimately. They truly believe that I'm either selling drugs or I'm doing something shady to have had my success. In their mind, it is not possible for someone of our bloodline to make money and have the success that I'm having. Just so you guys know, this is a public podcast. This will get thousands of views immediately, and I'm airing this personal stuff about me, not to diss my family, but to share a point with you guys of how deeply rooted this stuff is. They legitimately believe that I'm lying and that I'm doing shady shit, and that's the only way I can be successful, because they believe that it's not possible for us to be successful unless we randomly made it, as a performer, like a celebrity acting, or I would have made it in basketball, or if I played soccer or something else. That is in their mind, the only legitimate way for someone in our position, our economic standpoint, our social status to be successful. Yet none of you would probably look at me and maybe think that's my history, right? Again, because I don't have an accent when I speak English. A lot of people don't think I can speak Spanish, or because I don't have the traditional, what United States has, the Mexican look, right? Because that apparently is the Hispanic person in the United States. You have to be Mexican, right? Again, that's all bullshit that's just fed to you, or assumptions that we make, right? But you wouldn't have thought that about my family, maybe. But hey, that's what it is. Now, if I told you I would allow that to stop me, many of you who know me now, you would laugh or be like, oh, he's lying, or you would say it's foolish. Exactly. You're being foolish when you do the same thing in different contexts. You're stopping yourself, because whatever story you create, you will live and you will create. What story are you going to choose, though? Choose wisely, my friends, because that's going to determine what happens, what you get out of life, your enjoyment of it, your fulfillment, all the other stuff that you want. This mechanism is under your control. Become aware of it, that it is, and two, be very particular about how you manage this thing and how you use it, because it's one of the most powerful things and forces on this planet. Okay, that's it for this one, guys. We'll end it here. I might continue this one. I really liked it. Again, check out all the links below. Get on my email list. Schedule your free strategy call. Those of you looking to get more help, get on our public Discord, and the Icon Ninja Opportunity EXP Realty is there as well. All right, we'll see you guys on the next episode. Peace.